Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Crypto Chronicle Podcast. We have a very special guest with us today, Iain from Drilla. Iain, how you going?
Yeah, good, man. Good. Thanks for having me on.
No worries. Iain's from Brisbane, is it?
Brisbane, yeah.
Brisbane, always been a Queensland boy?
Yeah.
So, So, of course, getting started, I always want to know with our guests, obviously, the personal journey into crypto, where you started, how you got into it. You've been around for a fair while, probably longer than most. Is that?
Yeah, I've been around for a minute. Like my friend got me onto Bitcoin. Like I bought it. It was like under $100.
Yeah.
And I didn't really understand what it was, and it went up. It was right before like I think the Mt. Gox hack.
Yeah.
And I was like, internet money. This is really dumb. This is never going to take off. And I sold it for like $700 or something.
Yeah.
And I made like 15 grand and spent it all on a holiday in
Yeah, of course.
Then I came around. To actually like reading the white paper.
Yeah.
A bit later on, and actually starting to understand like why this does make sense.
Yeah.
As a thing.
It always takes a bit to. It's funny that you say that you invested in it and you'd sold it and you'd done all this before you'd read the white paper.
Yeah. All I knew that it was like, oh yeah, we're gonna put money on the internet.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, that's fucking stupid, dude.
Yeah.
It's super volatile. Like,
Yeah.
how are you even gonna spend it? You know. No, it's and I think it's a pretty like you kind of, anyone that's held for Bitcoin for a really long time, you really need to be deeply bullish on
you do
on decentralization and have like a
there's been many peaks and troughs you probably had to go through being that type of person. Especially if you were in it before the Mt. Gox, because when was that? 2014? 2016, one of those 2016
yeah.
Maybe one of those years. Yeah,
but I got it really cheap, and it would have been worth like an incredible amount. I refuse to look at the maths or how much Bitcoin I actually had.
Well, I was probably going to lead me to my next question. So when you got into it, so even Patrick we had on last week, I think his first big trade, he said that really got him hooked was obviously the Ethereum ICO. Did you have any across, given that you were there early, was there any even Solana? Were there any ones that say any of the majors that you caught earlier, or any memorable trades, even losses?
Well, I faded the ETH ICO.
Yeah. So that's a memorable loss.
Yeah, dude. I had some friends get in. Dude, I had a friend sell it for, who got in, sold so much for like under $1.
Yeah,
like
I had a friend that was similar, just in the price cycle. Like it was when it crashed that.
Yeah.
And I can't remember, it was 2019, 2017, whatever it was. And I think he sold it for, $90, and within 6 months it was at 4,000 or whatever it was.
Yeah, it's pretty, I've had some like astounding misses, but I got in on Link pre-sale. Yeah. And that really, and that's a project that I'm still like deeply bullish on. Yeah, I think there's like problems.
Now I know why you and Duncan are friends.
That the concept of like I was really attracted to the concept of smart contracts. Yeah, initially, and that's what got me super bullish on ETH. Yeah, I think when I really what really has excited me most about the space is diving in on chain. Just playing around with like all the latest Ponzi's. Yeah. All the latest trends. That's the stuff that really excites me. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess that takes us to our next part, which is on Drilla. Obviously, well, actually not obviously to me, but to those listeners out there, Iain has been part of a team that's developed a software on Solana, which is called Drilla, Drilla, I believe. So do you want to just give us quickly a brief overview of what Drilla is, and given that it is an on-chain software, like what it seeks to do or how it seeks to help traders?
Yeah, so it's like essentially like you can, with on-chain trading, you can see deeper into the trading activities of individual like wallets.
Yeah.
So with traditional trading on centralized exchanges, you can only really see that someone has bought or sold or plans to buy or sell. You can see orders in the order book, but not who's doing it.
Yeah.
So what we've done is built a product that automatically churns through wallets on Solana and determines what their trading style is, what their P&L is, what their hit rate is on trading, and gathers the ones that have like a strong history of profitable trading.
Yeah.
And then aggregates that data in certain ways.
So really for those that I guess definitely that have existed on CT out there, that's always been a big thing I've noticed over the years is that people want to be able to kind of track wallets, don't they? Or whale wallets or track certain, you know, we've all been in telegrams where people are trying to track a certain wallet, see when he buys, when he sells it, or if, you know, even if you're a part of a meme coin or a shit coin, you're always wondering what the bigger wallets are doing or what they're going to do. So really the key features, they center around whale wallets, don't they?
Well, no.
Not as such. P&L based.
It's P&L. Like because I spent a lot of time on Ethereum, like trading in this way where you look for insights on chain to inform your trading or give you an edge. And one of the first things I realized that there's a lot of whales that are dog shit traders. Like there's a lot of so it's that's really interesting. So it's definitely not there's some great traders that I've come across that trade with like relatively small size.
Well, I guess that is probably relative to any type of trading, I guess, you know, even when, you know, someone like me that's pretty experienced in leverage trading, I know the worst traders are those that move the most size around as opposed to pretty strict risk management using, you know, smaller sizes with consistency and taking profits is the most important thing. Because definitely in the shitcoin game, on-chain game, you know, majority of people probably round trip their pretty nice gains, don't they? And don't have an inkling of when to actually probably enter and exit. Most people are probably entering the tops and exiting the lows. So somewhat, you know, this is probably better designed to show you how those better traders are able to get in and get out, aren't they? Yeah,
so you can like isolate it. Essentially, there's like, at the moment, it's pretty like stripped back. Most of the time has been spent on like making sure that the data is super tight and that the wallets are good. They're not. They all give off good signal. When you put them together. But the two main features are the stream, which is a live stream of all the trades from the smart money wallets, and then an aggregation of token flows over separate periods. So in the last 24 hours, how many wallets and how much money did they put into a certain token? And in the feed, you can drill down into. So you can filter it by a specific wallet and by a specific coin. So you can see exactly how they've traded in and out of an individual token.
Yeah, that's really cool. So I guess since it's been around, how long has it been existing for so far?
I think probably 3 months, 4 months.
Yeah, okay. So it's really been kind of when Solana did really hype, and then now we've kind of seen it pull back a bit. Have there been any memorable wins or losses for yourself or any members so far?
Yeah, well, it was funny. We kind of I was talking, so one of the devs, he bought some Ethereum at some point, like on an exchange, but had never traded on chain before.
Yeah.
And he's not really a trader. And I'm like, well, look, you've built this tool, like you should have a play. I'm like,
at least use your own product.
Yeah, chuck in some money and see how you go. And then he hit on, and I was like, put in like $10 or whatever, just have a bet. And then next minute he's showing me this screenshot and he put like 5 SOL into Bohm, like. On the first day, which went to like, I don't know, like 800 million or something.
I guess that's the better question. Has Drilla and irrespective of whether any of the traders in Drilla have been in the coins, has it picked up on any that you guys have seen run really high?
Yeah, no, definitely, a ton. It's we've got a feature now for like the paid users that in the Discord it will post the link to a token if like within a certain time frame, a certain amount of wallets that we track go into that token.
It's definitely a smart
and
feature.
That's and we're looking at building out like a ton. Like it's really basic at the moment, but we want to build like totally those alerts to be totally customizable. So by like market cap, number of traders, specific traders, the time frame, how much buying, how much selling. And have like the users be able to build out their own kind of alerts essentially.
So that's generally the future for it. Is that at least in terms of features coming up?
There's where I've been through and worked out kind of a methodology for isolating out like trading styles of each wallet. So there's a lot of if you're a trader that only like sits down like once a day to trade, it's not really and you want to hold for like a week, it's not really worthwhile you trading with these hyper aggressive like day one launch traders. Because you got to be sitting there and like a trade can be 5 minutes long. Like,
I've tried to dive into somewhat shitcoin trading, and like I think I've probably made the comments to you. Like I couldn't believe like how much focus it actually like takes. Like you get into a shitcoin, obviously in a a couple of 100,000 market cap or a couple single digits, low millions. Like you really need to be watching that chart because like you blink or you go away for an hour or something, and a whale's dumped or a whale's bought or this and that's happened. CTO, you name it. You can get done pretty quick.
Definitely. I think
that was the shock for me.
So isolating out like slower traders from the feed, so like basically works out some metrics that we can run across the wallet and be like, this is a very aggressive, like this is a sniper, this is aggressive first minutes of the token launch trading. That stuff's like really hard to copy, but it does show you what is hyped. Like it's good signal, but it doesn't make sense for a lot of traders. So isolating into like 3 or 4 different styles. So like more like swing stuff, or more like people that, their trade length is generally 3 to 4 days, not 15 minutes. And having all those styles so you can isolate that out from the feed yourself. A bunch of that stuff. I really like bigger picture. I think like there's a lot of opportunity to build some really cool indicators. Like if you look at like in the stuff that you're a fan of, all those indicators do the best that they can with the information available. And with on-chain crypto trading, people are still using the same charts and tools. But there's so much more data available. So I think you can build out indicators that could show stuff on charts graphically that previously you didn't have access to. So it's never been, we're just relying on, the charting and the tools from traditional finance, but there's more data there. So for example, like the being able to look at with new launches, right? Like on chain, the teams now, it's the matter that all the liquidity has to be burnt, right? So they have to put up money to that they have to basically burn and give away. And these guys want to make money. They're incentivized to make money. So they used to just like allocate a ton to the dev wallet, right? So dev would hold on to a bunch of it. But then now, like because of the toolings come up, people won't trade that, right? So now they've got to the point where they do what's called like bundle sniping. So they'll snipe the contract address, have a first block bribed entry across like say 50 wallets, get the earliest trades in, and take up the majority of the supply. And that's like much harder to track. But I've been looking at it, and you can kind of get an idea of the team supply and how much they control by looking at fresh wallet addresses, because they don't want any of their on-chain activities to be, they don't want to get, what's his name?
Zach.
Yeah, they don't want to get Zach, right? So they watch
bubble mapped.
Yeah, they watch their coins through an exchange, and then it's all fresh wallets. So this is stuff that's very mechanical and you can automate. And I think you could turn out an indicator which shows you how much does the team really kind of control, what is the fresh wallet holdings, and what are the fresh wallets doing? Because it's pretty bearish if they're selling in the first 20 minutes of the launch.
Yeah.
So I think there's tons of, I have reams and reams of wacky ideas that I want to build into Drilla. Yeah, there's a ton of stuff, man. Yeah. It's endless.
Well, I guess I'll just on the development question, and then we'll move on, I guess. Given that, is this the first thing you've built properly in crypto, or there's been... Yeah. So I guess for any builders out there that might be listening, or we'll definitely have a few developers listening, what were the biggest challenges I guess you faced in building this, or I guess any advice you'd give people that want to build something? Because even one of our devs and one of our clients actually, Ads, if he listens to this, from CoinStash, he uses he's in AI and he's in dev work, and he's trying to build his own trading bots as well, but I think that's based off just actual traditional finance indicators like me and you that you mentioned. So is there anything you'd say about development?
I think we struggled with, because as I said, I did a lot of the stuff on Ethereum, and basically we saw that like trading during the bear market, the transaction fees that we were trading, and I really honed my Ethereum on-chain trading skills during the bear market, just to realize right before we went into the bull that it's not going to happen on Ethereum. It's going to happen on Solana. Yeah. And that's when I was like, let's fucking build this for Solana, because the infrastructure for this kind of stuff wasn't there.
When did that happen? Was that late last year, or was that in like October, September, or?
Yeah, late last year. And I'd been kicking around this idea for a while with one of the other founders. And I'm like, let's just build it, dude. But one of the struggles was that the APIs and like data coming out of Solana, all of that infrastructure for Ethereum for like tracking wallets and getting decent on-chain pricing data. Because if you think about it, like on Solana, there's like 20,000 coins launched a day. Like who's...
A minute.
Yeah, dude, like tracking all that pricing data, getting it good and right. And like, if we don't have the right data, if we can't be sure of the pricing data, then each individual trade that we're analyzing gets cooked, and then the P&L and the ROI gets cooked. So the big struggle was like trying to pull in the best data. And nailing that down.
Okay, well, given that you saw, I guess, that switch from ETH to Solana, which, there's still raging debate to this very minute about ETH versus Solana, and I guess the outlook for both, given there has been that kind of Sol ETH trade, hasn't there? And that kind of animosity between both circles about which one's going to shine more, and the ETH ETF this, and now there's the Solana ETF potentially, coming. So I guess my next question for you was, given you've been heavily involved in on-chain trading in both, what's your outlook for both? Because for me, I can't grasp at this very time whether, if we do get an altcoin explosion, whether it goes back to that ETH utility type of narrative where DeFi explodes again and that kind of 2021 vibe, or whether we just go back to that kind of shitcoin, meme coin, Solana, and Solana just continues to outpace everything.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was interesting. Like, I think the whole Solana push caught everyone off guard.
Yeah.
Big time. And I think that we'll see some really cool products coming out on Solana in the next cycle.
Yeah.
But still, all of the coolest DeFi stuff gets built on EVMs.
Yeah.
But I think people are now seeing that, because, I mean, everyone in that space got made rich by Ethereum.
Yeah.
Right? All the developers did. So they were always going to keep building on Ethereum thinking it was the future. And I think Solana really caught a lot of people off guard.
Yeah.
And I think like next cycle, you'll see a lot of people from, I mean, it depends how things play out. Like the EVM has so much infrastructure that's easily ported across. It takes a long time to like build out that kind of infrastructure. But other than, there's no other non-EVM that has as much stuff built as Solana for on-chain stuff. So they're the only two. And I think I'm really curious to see how Berachain goes. Like I'm a big
shout out Fantom. You'll get there one day.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I like the Fantom narrative. I like the Fantom as a trade.
That's more a tech thing for me, but I think this Fantom, stupid as it sounds, sometimes those that have fudded and bearish the most. Like I had multi-chain incident on it just reminds me of Solana last year. That's what it reminds me of. It's getting so like hated and so pressed down that it eventually just...
And you got Andre there, man.
Yeah.
Andre's made me a lot of money. And he's like the most exciting dev, dude. He created so many metas.
He's the king of DeFi.
Yeah, I also lost a lot of money because of Andre, but he definitely made me a lot a lot of money.
He has some crazy technical skills, that man.
Yeah, you know, he's also like he was a lawyer.
Yeah,
as well, and he was like,
because you were a lawyer back in the day.
Yeah, I used to be. Yeah, I practiced as a lawyer. I gave that up, but so you know, crypto really needs to work out.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I like the Fantom trade big time. What were we talking about?
We were talking about kind of just that outlook for Solana. So I guess so for you, it's kind of a next cycle thing, is it? This cycle will just, depending on when it phases out, I guess, whether it's late this year or next year.
Watching what people are trading on Solana, it blows my mind.
Yeah.
How little real products.
So I guess that was
like 4, dude.
So yeah, that was my question. So going back to it was ETH utility versus Solana shitcoins. Which way does the market go from here if there is an altcoin run? As big as what prior cycles have been, because
memes are not going away, man.
Yeah,
because obviously a real focal point.
Because is there emerging trends within Solana? Even if it is, you know, there's not. Say it's not DeFi. Say it's not utility. You know, we've got influencer coins right now. We've got celebrity coins, meme coins.
Just what I don't understand why we haven't had, and we will have this cycle, like the Ohm equivalent on Solana. There's going to be some kind of Ponzi.
Yeah,
but I think part of the problem with that is everyone's wise to now every Ponzi and how they break. Yeah. And so they don't, and we haven't come up with LSTs were kind of like the latest, like
Athena.
Yeah. They're kind of like the only innovation that people are excited about.
Yield
but
bearing.
Everything else is just the same 4 Ponzis repackaged in different ways, you know? Yeah. So maybe that's the reason people are going to meme coins and not anything fundamental on Solana, is because it's or even just a Ponzi, you know?
Yeah. I guess it's just human greed, isn't it? They know which ones will get the most volume, will wick the hardest, the most volatile. But it is an interesting time, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I do. I'm a big fan of like Butterfly.
Yeah.
The Redacted team are really, really, really clever guys in what they've been building.
Yep.
And I think, I mean, at some point in this cycle, we have to go back to utility.
Yeah.
Otherwise
we're stuffed.
Yeah, it's yeah, it is. It's that's not good news.
Yeah, well, I guess being yourself, having been a lawyer, and I don't know whether you read too much into the regulatory cycle within cryptocurrency, but do you see a Solana ETF getting approved? Do you see any regulatory changes?
I think now that they're going to push the ETH one through, there's no reason that
particularly
all
Trump
the majors
being elected, most likely.
Well, I think more power lies with in that space with Larry Fink and BlackRock.
Yeah. Me and Taylor have tirelessly tried to tell our podcast listeners that we only listen to Larry Fink and that's about it.
Yeah.
Even the whole time leading up to the ETH ETF, we were saying on the podcast, until they get rejected, it's approved to us. So, and obviously, funnily enough.
Yeah, I really think he holds more sway because, I mean, he made Gary Gensler just sit down, dude. Yeah. And he was... I'm interested to see where Gary Gensler ends up after his tenure as SEC chairman.
Yeah. Maybe back at MIT doing Algorand shills, who knows?
Yeah.
If he's down that bad.
He's going to... I mean...
Wouldn't it be nice if there was some documentary on him that came out after and he was just like, I just had to do it all because I was being ordered by Biden.
Have you watched his previous
his MIT talks? Oh, he believes in the tech.
He knows. Yeah, he knows what's going on.
Yeah.
Because
that's like from 2019 too. It's not from
I was super excited. I'm like, finally someone that understands it is going to be at the head of the SEC. This is super bullish.
Yeah.
But I think it's like it's a political position, and I think someone was telling him what to do.
Yeah.
And I think he was trading political favors for some horse trading in the background because he was definitely on the side of Elizabeth Warren, and now Elizabeth Warren's pretty quiet about crypto, and Gary Gensler's approving ETFs. And I mean, the courts did force his hand a bit, but I think Larry Fink just turned up and said, this is what we're doing now.
Yeah.
Is the reality of how that all went. So I don't know if he's... Yeah, I would love to know the political machinations behind the scenes on how that all played out.
Yeah. Oh, me too, yeah. So I guess I'll just ask one more quick thing, and it's more Australia-based, given you've developed a software product in Australia. Presumably it's under Australian law somewhat. Yes and no. No, not really.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, it's an Australian company, but yeah, I mean, if we do a token, there'll be a foundation and there's a bit of overseas structuring.
So you don't see any regulatory pressure? There hasn't been any, I guess, that was my question, because we're so bad with innovation here. Has it been tough to set up? Has it been fine? Has it...
I think... No, it's fine. It's fine. Like, I'm just lucky to have know some very talented developers who can spin stuff up.
Yeah.
Quite quickly. They're quite good. I mean, it's not the thing that we're lucky in the fact that we sit outside of, because we don't provide any kind of advice. We just provide tooling.
Yeah.
So we sit outside of that, and we don't yet have a token.
Yeah. Is that something you're looking to do? Create a foundation governance token?
Yeah, I think so.
Because I guess that would open a whole nother can of worms, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it's very serious. Yeah, you have to be very considered in like how you structure it. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's not like there's any really great jurisdictions outside of maybe like the Dubai free economic zone thing they've got going on. Mm-hmm. For launching products, like launching tokens. I think everyone does it out of British Virgin Islands or Seychelles companies.
Cayman Islands or something.
Cayman Islands, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I guess for any of those listeners that have been listening, what's the easiest way for them to get involved with Drilla? Is it just to head to the website, take a look around?
Yeah,
you obviously mentioned you've got a Discord. Is that a free Discord, or is there public parts to it?
There's it's like split to public and paid. But I mean, we're at the moment, because we're trying to kind of build out community. I mean, there's a lot of stuff for free in there, and most of the chats I've got I publicly broadcast all my trades in there.
Yeah.
So it's live, all the transactions. There's no to show people how to trade it.
Yeah.
So you can follow along how I'm using Drilla to make money.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess for anyone interested, I'll post the Discord links in our Discord and Telegrams. And if you want to see how it all works, I guess.
Yeah. And yeah, if you send Milky Bear a DM, I'll give you a free trial. Just say you're one of Mitch's listeners. And I'll give you 2 weeks for free, and you can see if you like it or not.
Yeah. Is there any? So you've got a Twitter as well.
Yeah.
You're not a very active LinkedIn man.
At Drilla Trading.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a website, there's a Twitter, Discord. We'll post all the links to those. Any last statements, queries, predictions, Solana comments, Drilla comments? Check how long this is. 2, perfect.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we've discussed a lot that we both don't think we've topped here, but dude,
yeah, I guess we can talk about much more macro wide and market wide, but yeah, we did have a good discussion this morning for those Trading Academy members. I did send my long thesis.
Yeah, I had to read through it.
Yeah, I think the general conclusion for us, kind of what market wide, is that definitely haven't topped. It seems probably a bit early to say we topped before the halving somewhat. I
mean, it'd be really odd cyclically for that.
Cyclically, in terms of liquidity cycles, rate cuts, elections, it would probably be the first time ever, if markets did crash before an election, that it's happened in history somewhat. I don't think Donald, Jerome and Joe want a situation where there's any unrest in the States prior to the election, more so than what there is. So, yeah, the bearish sentiment's pretty bad right now. We've obviously got CPI incoming and a bit of tailwind, but I guess, what's your outlook for the next 3 to 6 months? You think some more chop solidation bearishly? Yeah. And then a bit of an explosion later in the year into 2025?
Well, that, if we go off like the 4-year cycle, I think that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Like in relation to like the halving cycle,
it's actually,
it all kind of lines up for later in the year, big time, man. Like in a big way, like everything, institutions are finally buying our bags.
We have some funny conversations where we say institutions are buying our bags, banks are, we've defeated Gary, Elizabeth. It's just like,
I'm like, why is everyone so fucking bearish right now, dude?
It's a hive mind mentality, isn't it? That you kind of
price leads sentiment, right? That's what it is. And it's just people
in hopes that this is somewhat one of the great shakeouts, because as you said, and even if you were to deep dive like liquidity cycles, the Bitcoin halvings, and how it all lines up, you begin to think that Satoshi Nakamoto was a macro economist from the year 4000 or something. The way he's made it all line up, or every single time somehow. But it is all interesting, but I guess the best part of all of this is there is a bit of unknown. I guess the ETH before the halving and the ETFs, and now we've got the ETH ETF, which it's supposed to be in the next few days or next week. 18th of July was the latest.
That's what the boffins are saying.
Yeah, they keep the Bloomberg men, but so I guess it's a hugely exciting time, and even if we got that Solana ETF by March 2025, I guess that hopefully opened a whole can of new worms for both Drilla and imagine then Larry Fink logging into Drilla to trade some on-chain shitters. But I think I'm fairly confident, and I'm fairly confident in Solana. Solana is definitely like here to stay. I think the cheapness and the speed, dude, it's unbeatable. If you took any of the new participants that turned up to trade this Solana run up on chain, and then said, "Oh, you've now got to go to trade on Ethereum," whereas probably out of all the EVMs and layer 2s, the best trading still happens on Ethereum, and it's expensive, dude. It's like if you have a port of a couple of $100 that you're trading with shit, good luck, dude, on Ethereum, dude. You'll eat that up just bridging over. Particularly in a bull market. I mean, at the moment it's cheap, but a couple of months time, there's no way you'd be able to on-chain trade on Ethereum with a couple $100.
No,
it is weird, isn't it? Even right now, like I always think back to just those 2 months of October and November of 2021, when it was just, and even December after Bitcoin had topped, just like how psychotic it was then, like the fees you'd pay in gas, and it just meant nothing to you. It's just.
I mean, like I like to think about it because I bought the ETH so early that I'm not actually paying that amount in gas. You know what I mean? Like I prepaid my gas in my ETH, and I got it, much cheaper.
But we are thankful for Solana.
Yeah, and that's a problem with like a lot of the Ethereum guys that like I traded with and came up with. They just get numb to the fees.
Yeah.
And
I have one of our good friends, I won't mention his name, he's been around a long time and DeFi some of this, and it was a big trade in the last cycle, and he had that website that like aggregates how much gas he'd spent on like a specific wallet, and it was like 600k or something. Dude. So 600k in just fees of just sending transactions and trading. So it's just like when you go, and like for him, like he would never have known, or it wouldn't have been anything to him, and then he's like, I'm actually just going to check like how much I've actually lost. Well, not lost, dude, spent obviously to make, but it is crazy in that sense. So.
But I mean, it's always like, it shows demand, dude, for block space. Yeah. It's actually, it's pretty incredible. Yeah, but like, I think like, it's hard. Solana is like so snappy and so cheap that, I see a lot of people that are going to be like Ethereum was, just pure Solana people. Mm-hmm. And that community is going to stick around.
That Solana, as I said, when it's birthed out of Fire, which it was, not the original Solana community, the previous bear market community, when you have Alameda this and Sam that, and just how bad it did bottom, that births the best communities and the best soldiers, I guess, if that's what you want to say.
Well, you don't have a community until your first 90% drawdown.
And even looking at Solana, like it's real crazy to go and look at cycle to cycle of Ethereum and Solana, and how Solana's one cycle behind it. I even saw a really good fractal of ETH in 2017 when it did crash that 95%. And Solana crashed 95 to 98% in the previous, from the high of $250 to $8, whatever that is. And they're almost playing out identical, from the crash to the recovery to leading the market. And it's bonkers. So, that would be...
Well, what's interesting with that is that, and I make this point a lot, is that ETH massively underperformed compared to Solana in ETH's when ETH on chain went nuts.
Right. Yeah. Okay. That's an interesting.
Which is an interesting point. Yeah. So, what is the Sol equivalent in that scenario now? What is the layer 1 or other blockchain that has that higher upside for this cycle?
For building on, or just on-chain trading?
No, just the price-wise. Like, because ETH had its huge on-chain cycle, and Solana actually massively outperformed it. Now Solana is having its on-chain cycle. Will it kind of top out at $400 or $500? But there's another layer 1 that just goes fucking hammer, dude.
Well, if you biasly ask me, I just go the tech answer and say it'll be Sonic with. Their finality, transaction speed. They've got a pretty weird community. They've got a head developer that's pretty much arguably one of the most infamous head developers.
Yeah. He is. Definitely.
That's where I am placing my bet for now, on the L1 that outperforms every other L1. But my issue, I guess one issue I do have there is probably lack of building. I don't see why someone like you, for instance, would go, I'm going to take what I have on Solana to Fantom, or I would opt for Fantom or Sonic over Solana.
I mean, I still have this is the problem with EVM, and I still have a ton of money on ETH, on EVMs. The bridging's really easy. And the whole VC cycle is they incentivize the piss out of the chain when it first launches. So you get this mercenary capital that just moves in and just raids the chain and then leaves. Because there's no real community there. People just turn up to make money. I think that's why I like Berachain. Because of, it won't go into a big shill, but they have a real community, and a lot of it is the basis is like OG Ethereum developers that are like, this is the problem with Ethereum. This is how we fix it. Right. And one of the big drivers is the consensus mechanisms for proof of liquidity. So that kind of solves like one of the other problems with EVMs, which is like the fragmentation of like liquidity all over the place. You're highly incentivized to keep your liquidity on Berachain in a way that hasn't really been built yet. I think that's probably the most exciting one to come out. There's nothing.
I guess the Fantom side was, just to your comments on EVMs, though, is how it will be an EVM, but also a layer 1, but L2 bridge to Ethereum, which no other. So I guess that's the sticking point of, well, what's the difference between Solana and Fantom? Well, Solana can't be an L2 to ETH.
Yeah.
Fantom now can with its new technology.
I kind of think that like the on-chain activity might just follow the price of Fantom. Like, I think people will just start turning up on chain and checking out the products and using them if Fantom goes up considerably.
I think so. I think that's my thesis, obviously, for those that are involved in our DeFi community and our trading. And I've mentioned it to you, is with Equalizer and the product that Blake is from Queensland. No, do you know Blake from Equalizer? No, he's the founder of Equalizer's Australian.
Yeah, right.
And like you look at Equalizer and like you look at its market cap and its upside, even just how much it moves when Fantom does get good price appreciation. So it's just so clinically clear to me that, if you're a fan of Fantom, that Equalizer, if Fantom does go to where you think it will, Equalizer will go well beyond.
I still got some Equalizer bags. I do. The more we speak about it, I feel under allocated to Equalizer and Fantom.
But no, it's all interesting, that L1 space, because even the L2 space, like I was reading on Starknet this morning and VC this and how it was 3.5 billion valuation. Oh, sorry, it was whatever it was in mid bear market, and now in bull market, it's 1/5 of the size. Now that everyone's sold. So
I always like that as like a bullish indicator that if the VCs have ended up with if the VCs are underwater on their investment, they'll pull some strings. Do you know what I mean? Like,
They need to get in the green.
They need to get liquid. They don't want to sell for necessarily cash out for like a loss. They'll pull some. They'll hype something up. They'll launch some product or.
I guess that's my only other query is, well, we don't really know about one that's coming, but for instance, like in the last cycle, Solana was new. This cycle, we haven't, as such, had the new L1. I don't know whether it will. Well, obviously,
I played around on Say.
Huh?
I played around on Say a bit. But it just feels like every new blockchain where it's like this infrastructure is. It's just nauseating trading on it.
Yeah, well, it's just like the same. It's like the
infrastructure is not there, man, for like trading well. But I really like Say. I like because they're like ex-Goldman. I think the founders.
Right.
And their whole thing is like the one actual use case for blockchain, which is provable, is it's used for trading. So they're like, let's make the best chain for trading.
Right.
We're going to build it around like this is, build out like a proper order book and stuff. And I like that thesis. I have no idea whether they've actually pulled that off, right? So I'm not technical enough to know, but I like what they're saying.
Yeah.
But I did notice that Andre, because they were talking about
all over them, because that was, I think, the big EVM. Well, the parallel
EVM.
That was the big dispute between Andre and them, and I think he was just trying to show that Fantoms was better, or
well, I mean, the parallel EVM,
or that he was building the first one, wasn't it? Or
that's what they say they were going to have the first one, and that was a big thing, and they were going to like ship it or whatever, and the idea is that you would get the portability of all the infrastructure that you have on EVM that's built in Solidity, and you just plonk it over there and get the speeds of Solana. Is, kind of what they were saying. But the reality is that Solidity and the EVM is just not compatible with parallel transactions. Right. So you kind of like got like a separate chain, and it's all kind of really clunky. And I think Andre was making the point like, oh, you guys are talking shit here.
Yeah, like, right. Okay, that's what you're saying.
It's a bit like...
He did that and dipped. We haven't seen him since. So he just came to shit on them.
I'd love if he came back and just like, he could... I think he's too
wise
and old now to come back and just pump a good Ponzi, dude.
Well, his issue is he speaks too much to the point of... Well, the case of Fantom is it was trading at 40 cents, and then he said, okay, Sonic's being released here. He went and shat on a few other projects. He said, this, and this is happening. Fantom went to $1.30 within 2 months, and then he said, actually, we're delaying it until end of year. And everyone just... his worst efforts has always been his marketing efforts.
He's terrible at it.
He knows how to build. He doesn't know how to hold good relationships.
No, he doesn't. I remember, were you in on Solidly Exchange?
Yeah, I remember all of those early. Yeah,
and he just posted fair enough. Like people shat on him. People shat on him a lot, right? Yeah. But he bought, and 3.3 that he built with Solidly Exchange is still that's the code that was ported for Aerodrome and Velodrome.
He
built this great product. And there was something funky with the launch, and people were always throw vitriol at devs, dude. It's
he literally came out and said I literally built this all for you guys. I gave you the code, and you just
but he was just oh yeah, I'm quitting this.
Yeah,
and
I think that's why people were so upset.
The most and then that does make sense. Yeah. I think that to be upset with that.
Yeah,
it was the most ungraceful kind of exit, and he must have known that it was just gonna. Just plummet the price, dude. And it was also the mechanism is locking up tokens, so everyone's locked in this shit, dude. Just getting destroyed, dude.
Yeah. So as I said, I think his ability to market and be social amongst investors and whatnot is pretty poor.
But I kind of like that. He doesn't play that game, and people are really good at playing that marketing game now, and I think it's almost a little.
Yeah, well, it's just no bullshit unfair. Most of the time, which is refreshing.
Yeah.
Rather than kicking the can down the road.
Build in prod, baby.
Yeah.
He was.
Well, he's
one of the most innovative blockchain developers of all time. Probably the most.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, I think that'll wrap us up. Any last comments? Just hit the Drilla Discord. Make sure you message Milky Bear, was it?
Yeah, Milky Bear.
He'll give you a 2-week trial, just in case people had forgotten, because we did begin to ramble after we did decide. So hit up. Yeah, I'll post all the links in the podcast as well as the Chronicle, and I'll post them in our Discord. Reach out to him, grab a trial. If Solana on-chain trading is something you're looking into, this is a good as product to use. I've seen the community in the Discord and how it works, and it's awesome. So thank you everyone for tuning in, and we'll see you next week. Thank you.